Well, hello, it's Ben. How you all doing? Hope you're having an awesome day wherever you are in the world. Very quick video because we have just finished up day 2 of prep for Download Festival here with Toska. I'm at Brighton Electric Studios, the wonderful place, the mecca of Toska, where we've written a lot of our stuff and we rehearse all the time. And we have got a lockout for the last couple of days with all the gear set up so we can do yesterday, and we practiced and rehearsed, and then we can come back this morning and it's all set up. It's glorious walking into a room with your coffee and going, "There's my kit. It's good to go." Yeah, it's good times. So we're feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. It's this is a big festival for us, and you know, it means a lot to be playing Download. We've wanted to play it for a long time, ever since we sort of started playing music together back in 2006. So yeah, we went to Download first in 2007, and we were like, we need to play this festival. So to be going back and playing it, and as Toska, you know, an instrumental band, they don't really book instrumental bands. As far as I know, we're the second or maybe third instrumental band to ever play Download. So I'm absolutely honoured that we're getting to do it. Yeah, so just kind of prepping for the Download really. I wanted to give you a quick rundown on the rig and what I'm using. The new kit, I've gone for a new head selection from Evans, and the cymbal setup is old reliable. Not much has changed there. But yeah, let's have a quick rundown of the rig. Okay, well, kicking things off, the shells are the new Yamaha Live Custom Hybrid Oak. You've seen me raving about this kit for a while, and yeah, it's a beauty. It just sounds great. Really good sound for me. I think the kick drum is particularly special. It has a warm place in my heart. Sorry it's a bit dark in here. There's literally like one lamp on, so I've got this camera cranked up, but it's a little bit dark. But it is actually a mostly black kit anyway, so let's go around this way and see what is happening behind the mothership. So yeah, we've got Yamaha Live Custom. Look at that. I've made the setup a little bit more simple, I guess. Like if any of you guys saw us on the album headline run, I had 8, 10, 12, 16, 18. Did I have the 10? I can't remember. But basically I had, more rack toms and an extra 18-inch floor tom down here. And it's great when you've, got loads of transport options and people helping you set up, but not really the most practical thing for festivals. So I'm kind of gone back to 2 up, 1 down, and relearning the Toska parts to make sure that they work on a more simple setup, because I don't want to be that guy that's like, where's my rack? So yeah, all Yamaha shells. We've got the Recording Custom brass snare, 14 by 6 I believe, deep, awesome. And some new Yamaha hardware. These stands are the CS865 I believe. They are absolutely hardcore. They're not going anywhere, and yeah, I've wanted these for a while actually. You know, I'm a massive geek for hardware, and I've had my eye on these, and they very kindly sent 6 of them so that I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all on individual stands, which for me is more practical for the shows I've got coming up than the rack was. I love the rack for the big headline shows, for doing headline stuff, but to be honest, I'm going to stay with stands for the time being because it's more flexible. It's easy just to pull them off stage at the end of a gig, have like 4 or 5 people just run up, grab the stuff and go, whereas the rack is like, let me undo all these screws. And it's amazing when you got it, but again, this whole setup is about trying to be more practical and a bit more nimble, he says, looking at the sea of cymbals in front of him. Yeah, we've got the hi-hat stand. It's chain driven, because they do a direct drive option, but I like chain driven. Likewise with the pedals for now. We've got these chain driven Yamaha double pedals. They're feeling good. Right then, on to drum heads. I mean, stick wise, it's always the good old reliable, the Shirakashi Oak 5Bs from Promark. But heads wise, changing up a little bit. I'm sticking with the hybrid head for the snare. I feel like for live it's extremely durable. For recording, I feel like I get a nicer tone out of maybe a thinner head, maybe like a heavyweight or a reverse center power dot. I never get that name right, but maybe a thinner head for recording, but for a very durable head that's easy to tune. That's what I love about this head, is you just crank it and it's great and it's not going to break. So that makes me very happy, and I always rock a Hazy 300 underneath the snare. Now Tom's changing it up a little bit. This was a recommendation from my man Ben at Evans. He is just such an expert, such a genius, and he said, why don't you try out G2s on the top and G1s on the bottom, so kind of their standard double ply on the top and a single ply on the bottom, because I'd been trying all sorts of crazy head combos with the hydraulic stuff, and a very cool sound, and it kind of worked at the time, but I wanted moving on to this new kit and moving over to Yamaha in general, I wanted heads that were more open, and I didn't want to have to use moon gel either. So I wanted to try and get as much tone out of these new shells as possible. So that's why these are clears, and although you could argue coated has more tone, but you know what I mean, I'm not going for super thick like the oil filled heads or anything like that. I'm going for a single ply on the bottom, so really enjoying this right now. And then on the floor tom, it's an EC2 on the top, and then it's a G2 on the bottom, so we're going double ply top and bottom, and that actually has really helped just kill a little bit of the sustain on the drum and still give a really fat floor tom sound. Now on the kick drum, I don't know if you can see in there, no, it's too dark, I apologise, but I've got the Evans EQ3 head on there, and it's the one that has a foam ring around the outside, and it's just amazing. And then inside the kick drum, again, you can't see that, I've got the Evans EQ pad for the bass drum, which is a little black kind of back fabric pad that's got a Velcro sticky back, and you can stick it into the bass drum, and it just rests up against the batter head or the resonant head, but I like it just against the batter head, and that will help to really control the sound of the drum. And because it sticks in there, it's going to be the same position every single time you play, so it is immense. I love that. So huge thank you to Evans for some new lovely heads for this kit. You guys always look after me, and I really appreciate it. The Sabian stuff is the same as usual, really. I've done a rig rundown loads of times, but this setup is really working right now, although I really need to do something about this. I kind of like it, but at the same time I'm really worried I'm going to blind Dave by it flying off mid-gig. Okay, let's go on to the electronic side, the sampling, the monitoring side of stuff. This is going to need a much more detailed video at some point to talk about how I'm actually doing all this stuff, but let me give you a very brief rundown of what's happening here. I've got a MacBook Pro running Ableton, and in this session is, I'll go through this in more detail in another video, but basically this session contains the backing tracks, which we don't use extensive backing tracks, but we do have like strings and pads and layers and things from the album that are being triggered live. It also runs my click track, because I run a click for everything now in Toska, and it also runs a click track for Beer, who has click kind of coming in and out of different sections where it's just him playing to help him keep in time. Now that is sending all of its audio and is receiving MIDI information from this interface, which is a Focusrite. I think it's a Scarlett 4i, 6i. Basically, it's a simple but nice interface from Focusrite, and that basically has got multiple outputs. That's why I'm using this one. So I send two outputs out the back, and that is the master out. That's going out here up these cables into a DI box. So left and right into the DI box, and that is going to boost this signal out to the front of house. So that's going to they're going to take out there, and you just, to your engineer, you go, hey, these left and right is your samples out to front of house. So that's that taken care of. And then output 3 and 4 out the back of here is my feed into here, and a feed to Beer, which is going into over there, and that little unit over there, Behringer X32 in-ear monitoring rig. So Beer gets a jack out of there for a mono signal that's sending him click, and I think actually just click is going down that one to him. And then down my jack, which is going into this channel on my desk, thank you Yamaha, MG10 Beast. In this channel here, I'm getting click track, and I'm also getting the samples that are playing out front of house. So just in case there's something wrong, I can hear if the samples are out of time, or we've messed it up somehow. And actually, if that happens down there, that little Boss foot switch is wired up. I'll show you that my triggering rig in a second, but that's a kill switch in case it all goes Pete Tong and I've got to kill the whole thing. And then into channel 1 on my desk is my in-ear monitor feed. So for the purposes of this session, I'm taking an XLR feed from the Behringer X32 in here, and that's feeding me a bit of drums, some bass, the Invisible Dave, the Invisible Beer, and that's kind of just a mix that I can control the level of. That's my kind of band mix. So that's how I'm going to be running it for festivals, because I'm going to have probably just one XLR in as a monitor feed, so kind of simulating this here, and then I've got my own single feed. So I've got some control over it. I've got control for a general level for the feed from the monitor engineer, and I've got a control here for my click and samples. So it's kind of like band, click and samples. So yeah, that's that. And then to actually monitor out of here, my monitoring solution right now, enjoying these very much. These are the Empire in-ear monitors. This is the Nemesis model. They sound absolutely unbelievable. They've got 2 subs in there, so if you really want some bass, they're great. Although, to be honest, I'm finding myself rolling off the low end here, just because I don't want to overly saturate these drivers. They are still small drivers. I want to have as much clarity and headroom as possible, but you can absolutely drive the bass on these like crazy. So they are lovely, very, very nice. However, I am finding that I'm getting even better results for isolation by actually having some noise cancelling ear defenders over the top. That for me takes it from being a fairly comfortable monitoring setup to being absolutely brilliant to play. Just this, by adding these over, it makes the whole thing sound like I'm listening to a mix of what we're playing. So I'm absolutely going to be using these to download. They might not look the coolest, but then again, neither do I in general, and it means I can save my hearing and hear what's going on. So last thing, ladies and gentlemen, how am I actually triggering all this stuff? This is the Yamaha DTX Multi 12, named so because it is 12 pads. This can be used for loads of different things. It's a bit like a sampler and a sequencer and loads of stuff, but for the purposes of today, what we're doing is I've got a MIDI cable coming out of the back of the DTX Multi 12. It runs down here and it goes into the back of the Focusrite interface. So that now means that there is MIDI information communicating between the Multi 12 and Ableton. And what you can do in Ableton is you can select different functions in there and map them to a MIDI command. So for example, when I want to play a certain song, I click the play button on that song and I map it to this pad here. So what I have is control over the live setup by going, I can go up a track, down a track, I can move between the set list, and when we're ready to play a song, I hit that pad there, and that starts off the whole song basically, which is mostly click track and then samples coming in and out. So that is a great setup and it works awesomely. It allows me to control Ableton and basically control the live set. And when we take our lights out for a bigger kind of headline show, then we actually have a little unit at the back of there which takes the lighting information which is in Ableton and feeds it out to a whole lighting rig. So this whole little setup right here is the mothership, and it's awesome. So there we go. The boys have just entered back into the room. I think that means it's time to go and play. Run the set again. So there we go, that is the setup, the new live setup right now. It's a lot of fun, sounds good, looks good. 2 things that I don't do. Have a good day.